Ready to go live. All right. So we are live now. Peace, family. This is your boy, King Obatunda. I'm here with another episode. We are live today with Rae Kembabazi. We will be talking about the education system here in Uganda. And before we get started, I want to go ahead and introduce my guest, Rae. Would you like to tell us about yourself, about your channel, what you do, and things of that nature?
Hello everyone, I'm Rae. I'm a Ugandan YouTuber, and I do to create content about Africa and Uganda and African people. I also do feature Africans who are returning home or who just want to visit. Any interesting stories about Africa? That's what I do share on my channel, and I'm glad to
All
be here
right.
today.
So how long you been doing this? Like, doing your YouTube and everything, right?
Yes, I
I was
can.
asking how long have you been doing your YouTube, yeah, your channel and everything.
Oh, I started my channel in 2018, but I only became consistent last year. That is 2020, because I quit
Okay.
my regular 8 to 5 job just to be a YouTuber. So I would say this is like the second year that I'm doing it.
All righty.
Yeah.
That's great. That's great. So I'm gonna wait for a few more people to come into the live, and then we're going to go ahead and get started on the questions that I have for you. But basically, I'm gonna ask you a few questions about your experiences in the education system here in Uganda, the things that you went through, just basic general information, because a lot of us really don't have understanding of how education does work here, as far as the structure of education. I'm used to a Western style of education, American version, so we don't have primaries and secondaries and all of that. So if you don't mind, when we get started, I'll have you break that down and explain the equivalents, like what age group is primary and secondary and all that good stuff, and then we'll jump into like university and stuff like that.
Mm-hmm. Okay.
All right, so yeah, I'm still waiting on a few more people to come
Yeah,
in.
it's fine.
All right, so let's go ahead and get started now. First question I want to ask you is just one basic question. It's a very general question. How do you feel about the education system in Uganda?
So my thoughts are the education system is a lot theory based than practical based because they just
Hmm.
teach you things that are not applicable to real life, you know. Yeah, so it's more of theory, unless you attend like a vocational institute and learn some skills, you know, to start a business. But they won't teach you like any life lessons, you
Okay.
know. They won't give you, they won't teach you like how
Okay.
to be creative or innovative or how to think creatively.
Really?
Yeah, so that's a little bit, that's how I feel about it in general. It's not empowering in my opinion. It doesn't even empower us as Black
Mm.
people or African people. It just teaches us like whites are better, you know. They came and did all these things and even named our lakes which are already existing, even when the locals saw them. For some reason, they
Mm.
think the whites discovered those lakes and those mountains, and they think it is enough to have them have like foreign names. I just question the education a lot.
Okay.
Sometimes I wonder the people who do this syllabus, like, did they think twice, you know, before making it? Like, why would you teach those things to
Right.
kids? Because when you teach someone something like that, to get stuck in their brain, it never leaves. So there's a lot to question about the education system in Uganda. It doesn't empower us as Ugandans, in my opinion, in any way. It doesn't
Okay.
help us independently as African people or as Ugandan people. It doesn't in any way.
So, do you feel the education system has like failed the people of Uganda, or do you think that maybe there's still more room for improvement?
Of course, there is room for improvement, definitely. Uh, it can be better. I might not say it has failed the people. I mean, you're able to learn and know how to like calculate, or speak English, since it's an international language. We study in English right from baby class or nursery one. So I wouldn't say it has failed the people, but it just doesn't empower the people in any way. It can be better. I feel
Okay,
like the
okay.
people who curated it or who created it at the time, they really never thought out of the box. Yeah, they really never thought out of the box. Yeah.
Uh,
So there is a lot that can be changed.
all right. Okay, so my next question is, do you feel education is easily accessible to like everyone in Uganda, or is it only like for the haves and the have-nots, basically, like people who have the money or who have the opportunity to go?
It depends on the level of education. So in primary school, education is accessible because there is free education called universal primary education, but you also come
Mm-hmm.
down to the quality of education. So universal primary education is provided by the government, it's free, and then there is also
Mm-hmm.
private schools. So we have the free education at primary level, and then we just have like a few schools as well at secondary level who give free education by the government. But the problem with the free education is that it's of the worst quality. Reason being, teachers will show up like once in a while or whenever they feel like. You have like the worst quality teachers. Like no one cares because they are not motivated. Teachers receive some of the worst salaries in Uganda. If you like a teacher, the salary is very
Um,
poor, so they don't have motivation. There are not enough scholastic materials. There are not enough. Like most UPE schools, we call them UPE, Universal Primary Education. They are
mhm.
they just like lack everything, right from the scholastic materials, to the structures, the physical structures, to the
Mhm.
books, for the kids to use. Like the government has tried, but it just hasn't done its best. So that's why the poor parents take their kids, in the primary schools where the
Okay,
education is free, but it's very poor quality.
okay.
The kids might not learn English. They'll perform very poorly at the end of the 7 years when they're doing their final exams. So if a
Mm.
parent can afford, then they would prefer to take their kids to a private school where you can find good teachers. So parents who afford take their kids to primary schools. Parents who don't afford, they take their kids to UPE, the government schools, and that is at primary level. At secondary level,
Okay.
there's still some USE, Universal Secondary Education, which is also by the government, but it's the same story.
Mhm.
Teachers just receive the worst salaries in Uganda, unfortunately, so they are not motivated to do the job. A teacher could earn
Okay.
as low as like a $135 as doing like a bit of research for the for the stream,
Okay.
you know.
All right. So let
So
me ask you a
like
question.
$135 a month, which is very little money. So if you have a family to take care of, you
Wow.
have,
That's very little.
a
Yeah,
wife
exactly.
and kids.
So, do you feel comfortable telling my guests like where you went to school, where you did your education, your primary, secondary, and your university?
Yes, I can do that. So primary school, I studied in a school called Rukunju Universal Primary. It's in southwestern Uganda. And then secondary school, I went to
Mm.
Muranyanji Girls School. It's also in southwestern Uganda. And then university, I went to Makerere University, which is here in Uganda. And then I also went to UMI, in Uganda Management Institute, to do my postgraduate diploma in human resource management.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right. Thank you very much. And as far as when I was asking about earlier the accessibility of education, I meant to also mention about cost as well. Is education relatively cheap, or is it pretty much kind of expensive for the average local Ugandan?
It's expensive for the average Ugandan. Very expensive,
Mm.
actually. Yes, it is expensive. If you compare the education with
Okay.
the salaries that Ugandans receive, it's very expensive to take a child to school in Uganda. Yeah,
Okay.
it's very
So do
expensive,
you feel like
especially if it's a
one
good
of the
school.
major issues of education here is that people can't pay their school fees?
Pardon the question?
I was asking, do you feel like one major issue of education here in Uganda is that people cannot afford to pay their school fees?
I mean, it depends on the income of the person, but in general, I would say that school fees is like a hugest challenge for parents. You know, when you're educating your child, parents will have to take out loans from the bank, you know, put their land as security just to pay school fees, or put their house, you know, as security to get a loan from the bank to pay school fees for the kids. And then it also comes as scholastic materials. If a
Okay.
child is in like boarding school, you have to give them all these items, you have to buy them books, buy them textbooks. So even the school fees part itself, because I would think a decent primary school at the moment in Uganda, you'd have to pay like 1 million shillings. That's close to $300, I assume. But not an average
Right.
Ugandan doesn't make
Okay.
1 million shillings.
And is that per term?
Oh, sorry.
Oh, sorry. Apologize,
Sorry,
family. We
my
have a little bit of a video malfunction.
sorry, my phone
These
fell
things
down
they
from
happen
my
sometimes.
it fell
It's
off
all
my
good.
holder. Let me get it. Yeah. So what I was saying is the average Ugandan parent.
For a second, I do apologize for these issues that were
Okay.
technical issues that we're having, family. Give me 1 second. I'm gonna look at
What
some of these
I
comments.
say is Ugandan
Ray, if you're there, I'm not seeing you. I'm not seeing you on video.
shilling.
If you're there, Ray, I'm not seeing you on video. I just want to say thank you to everybody who is tuned in at this moment. I'm looking at some of the comments. Appreciate Stephen Scott for joining in. Benja the One, Adewale. I appreciate everybody for joining in. Thank you very much, Mr. Uganda. Appreciate you for joining in.
Okay.
Marlon Reed,
Can you
appreciate
hear
you for
me
joining in.
now?
Yeah, I'm still not seeing you, Ray. Yeah, there you go. There you go. All right, you're back. All right, you're back. So let's move a little bit forward from that topic. As I'll get into the education itself, can you explain the levels of education here, starting from like the lowest level all the way up to the highest?
Let me
We're having
just get
another technical issue.
more stable and just
All right. All right. While you get stable, let me go ahead and review a little bit more of these comments. Stephen Scott was saying Africans need to come up with their own curriculum, the same as Black people, which can be done much easier now with the internet. I actually agree with that because I saw another comment in there saying that education in America does not empower Black, and that is actually true because in America, you know, we grew up with 11 months of learning about European education, and we only get 1 month, which is February, Black History Month. You know, that's the only time we get to really learn about ourselves and our own our own history. So, you know, like right now, this whole entire month, I try to, well, actually, you know, I actually take the entire year out now that I'm more woke and more educated. I take the entire year out to go ahead and educate myself on a lot of different things that black achievements and Black people have done throughout our lifetimes. Because a lot of the history, it's not that it wasn't accessible to me. I just didn't even know it was there. I didn't even really at the time was motivated to even know those things. So I do want to say that is very true, you know, about the education system in the West. But I don't believe it's just the West. I also believe I heard some things about how the education system is in the UK as well. So I will hang on 1 second. Let me gotta redo this. I gotta re-add Ray back to this live. So saying family. Is really broken, and I'm trying to really understand why that is because you know in America, I told you guys before in another live, a lot of us were taught to be employees. We're not taught to really be empowered as people, and then on top of that, we're not taught to be Black people. So that really does bother me about education. Is one thing I really wanted to learn when I first came to Uganda is because you know a lot of my people who want to return. That's one of the questions that they ask me. I personally don't have. I never went to university, so I went into the business field, so I kind of disregarded that for a while. But now is a good time to do it because there are a lot more people who are planning on coming this year and as of next year as well. So I am trying to get this information out there to you guys, so so you guys can learn everything you need to learn about all the classes of education here, all the way to the lowest level, all the way up to the highest level, and also like I was saying about universities as well, because universities is a big thing here. There's a lot of big universities here. My career is one of the biggest, I think, in East Africa, and I know a lot of people who went to my career university. So um, I definitely, like I said, I'm going to get more information about that, and that's why I'm trying to have more local Ugandans who are here, who went to these universities, who can talk to them and elaborate more on that subject. Because me myself, I've never been there, and I can just go to the university and ask people, but I'd rather, have a more intimate conversation with someone and sit down with them and really discuss these things in depth so that you guys can get all the information that you need. All right, I believe Rae is back on. Rae, are you there? Hello, Rae, are you there? Let me see what's going on. What's going on? So Benja, the one was saying Uganda's education system needs a huge change for real. And I'd like to really understand why that is. Like, I don't really hear too many people are so vocal about it. So I want to know, like, is there a reason why a lot of people don't really talk about it, or is there other things that are going on behind the scenes that keeps people, weary from discussing those kind of topics? So yeah, I think she does have a few issues. I'm not sure what's exactly going on, but I would like to move on from for weirdest. I have a long list of questions that I would like to ask Rae. These questions are really going to break down some of the things that we need to understand about the education system here. And one of the questions that I would like to ask Rae as soon as she gets on is about historical information here in Uganda. I would love to know like what kind of history people know about this country of Uganda, because I've asked a lot of people about historical events in Uganda. Many people don't really know a lot of things that happened in the past or pre-colonial events. Like a lot of people know stuff like after they got colonized here, or bits and pieces of after they got colonized, bits and pieces of what happened in between, and all the way up to what's going on now. So I definitely would like to ask Rae about those questions. So let me see what's going on with Rae. I might have to end this live and redo it again, so I'm not exactly sure what's going on. All right, so as of right now, I'm just waiting for her to join back in. And go ahead and get started. I do apologize for these delays, family. This is going to be a really good episode for you guys to watch. A lot of information I'm going to provide, so please bear with me, as this is my first time having someone else on my live streaming with another person in a different location other than having me here. So once again, please bear with me, family. All right, Rae, are you there? I just added you back. Where are you at? Come on. I do apologize for these delays, family. Trying to get it rolling again. All right, family. I do apologize. I'm going to go ahead and end this live. Don't go away from your YouTube. I'm actually going to start it back up again. So please do not go away. I'm going to go ahead and restart this live. Overdo it. All right. So, guys, just bear with me and don't go